the schedule issue. Commanders are 7-4. Last 3 times they faced a team with a winning record. Now they're all good. The Ravens, the Steelers, and now the Eagles. They've lost. So wondering what you make of that. But before we get to the callers and before we chime in on that, I think it's only fair. EB, almost every week for the last 6 weeks, usually very early in the show, you make a point of singling out Drab and you ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I've not heard you ask Drab that question.
Well, because it's too easy. I mean, he's just,
But I think it's fair for Drab to have a chance to respond because you've asked a question and you've begged him to give you an answer and he's refused to give you that answer. What say you, Drab T-shirt?
Well, Eric is already cracking because he slipped up about 30 minutes ago when he said, I think Jayden will be elite.
Okay.
He's already showing shades of doubt.
Oh, no,
okay?
I don't. No, I'm not. I think he is elite. Currently.
Is he still top 5?
Currently.
Is he still top 5?
I don't know, but I definitely think he's elite. He's had 2 off games, though, for sure.
Small
100%.
sample size.
I'm 100% convinced. I'm 100% convinced of his greatness.
Hey, I didn't spend 1 second thinking about coming in here today and kicking Jayden while he's down or kicking him in the ribs.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't be fair because he's played a lot of great games when I said, so I'm not off Jayden because he's had a couple down games. I still think Jayden can be really good, and he is good. He's good right now. I just haven't seen those elite traits. There was a lot of like luck that went his way, a lot of great. Cliff was in his bag early, and he made some great throws, but I didn't see what I saw on last Thursday or Monday night, whenever it was, with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Though that's elite to me. I hadn't seen that from Jayden passing for 212 yards a game and 20-something and touchdowns.
I
know you love the running. You love the running.
My retort would be, he's played 9 or 10 games at that point.
I know, but you said he was better than Patrick Mahomes already. Everyone said he was elite. He was special. You can't go back and then say, well, he's only played 9 games.
You're missing my overall point.
I think we all missed your point.
My point was he was better in a 9-game snapshot than Patrick Mahomes was. And if you argue
this season,
yes, I made that. I made that crystal clear. And if you can't see that, you're not listening to me. Or listening to my argument.
But to use your argument about small sample size, isn't it a small sample size to already call him elite? Like,
sure. I mean,
I think he showed
calling him elite through 10 games might be a bit of a stretch.
I think
he's been really good.
He has shown signs. All right, EB likes to say he makes all the throws. I think every quarterback can make all the throws, but he's shown signs that he can be a really good passer in the league, and obviously he has elite speed. But ultimately, you need to see way more than just 9 or 10 games, right? And right now, if you look at the last 4 games, right, and you can argue, well, he's been hurt. Well, the last 4 games, he's only completing 59% of his passes, and he only has 4 touchdown passes. On the year, he only has 10 touchdown passes. That's pretty pedestrian. All right, he's got 4 touchdown runs, so that's a total of 14 touchdowns overall. That's pretty pedestrian through 11 games. Like, I do think he has special traits. He was the number 2 pick in the draft. He can make all the throws. He has elite speed, but it remains to be seen. Like, you may be proven right, EB. He may be a Hall of Famer generational talent, but he also could be Justin Fields.
I don't count.
I think he's better than Justin Fields, but Justin Fields would have flashes and have stretches of games where you're like, this guy's amazing. But over the course of years,
he's already a better passer at this point than Justin Fields will ever be in the NFL. I think he's already proven that through 10. I give him 10 games.
Does the low touchdown total concern you?
He was in for 1 series. I don't count that.
Does the low touchdown total concern you?
No, not yet. Now, if he does that over 2 or 3 seasons and he only throws for 15 to 18 and then adds some rushing touchdowns, I would be concerned. But they're going to add extra pieces. They're going to add better weaponry than Noah Brown and Luke McCaffrey. Like, you can't rely on those guys as your number 2 wideout. They're going to add better pieces, and his numbers will get better.
It's not so much the touchdowns,
in my opinion.
It's you're starting to see things. Like EB was talking about earlier. He's throwing off his back foot. Now his fundamentals are looking shaky, that he's playing better teams and he's getting pressure. He's trying to bail out of the pocket. He's not sitting in there, going through his progressions and taking shots downfield.
But I think those are correctable.
They are if but not everyone can do that. Like that's
yeah,
where a lot of guys struggle.
I think he will. And the other thing that I think, Drab, that makes him special beyond his physical gifts is he puts in the work. And I think that's what puts him over the top. Like, he puts in the work.
But who doesn't put in the work?
A lot of guys. A lot of guys. Dwayne
quarterbacks?
Haskins didn't put in the work.
You don't want to be compared to Dwayne Haskins.
And they say that about Anthony Richardson. Look, but putting in your work doesn't mean you're going to be elite.
No, but you have to have the skill set.
Generational talent, which you're saying.
He has the skill set.
Yeah, but a lot of people have that skill set. And maybe he will
puts in the work.
I just think, I would say that now that you're seeing, and Cliff Kingsbury's a part of it, the lack of a running game is part of it. There are a lot of factors in play, and we don't know about the health. But maybe everybody was a little over their skis on crowning Jayden Daniels when the guy's got 10 touchdown passes in 11 games.
I'm not going to bury.
And if you look beyond that, you could look at a lot of other categories like attempts per game. You can look at his yards per game.
That's because there's been balanced attack. I have no problem. I think I've seen all the throws. I've seen him throw guys open. I've seen him throw into tight windows. He's not doing that 10 times a game, but I've seen it that I know he can do it. I just think he's had a couple off games, and I think it's not a coincidence. It's been against the better teams. I think that's kind of normal.
And he's a rookie. I think he can be very good. I just think maybe you've gone a little too far with Hall of Fame and all that stuff, and we're seeing a little regression here.
That might be fair, but I stand by it. I'm not backing off it one iota.
Okay, but you also had RG3 in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think I did.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
Are you kidding me?
Ring of
I
Honor.
don't think.
Let's go Ring of Honor, EB.
You didn't have him in the Hall of Fame?
Back it up. Let's walk it back a little bit.
Bus proof.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
RG3 was having a statistically better year than Jayden is having right now.
Yeah, like again, his toolbox is so much bigger than RG3's. It's crazy.
I don't know that.
I don't think he's anywhere near. I don't think RG3
he's got a better
ever
head
anywhere near
and
the
character.
passer.
I think
I think
through
the passing traits
I think
are
through
markedly
10 games,
better.
He's shown he's a much better passer than RG3 ever was.
Yeah, he's just had a tough little
Ever
2-game
was.
stretch here.
I mean, statistically, you're not going to see that difference.
I'm talking about Tingle. Me watching him
Tingle.
play. Yeah,
But like completion percentage, yards, all that stuff, it's probably actually an RG3 favor.
Robert never threw guys open the way he does. Robert never read the field the way he did.
Career?
No, of course I would take Jayden. We know how it ended for
Robert was a one-read guy.
Okay.
Robert was a one-read guy.
I'll also take Patrick Mahomes over Jayden Daniels cakes.
Again, you guys are everybody misses my point. I'm no longer going to argue the Jayden versus Patrick Mahomes because nobody understands what I'm talking about.
Listen, I don't think this is a referendum on Jayden's. Listen, I don't think this is a referendum on Jason's star. I don't think it is. I think it's the natural. Like not everything is straight line up. Everybody has bad games. Everyone has off little sequences. I think he's in a little off stretch. I think the offensive line's not helping him. I think they're playing against better teams. I expect him to have monster games down the stretch.
Do you know out of 11 games, he only has one 300-yard game?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's the be-all and end-all, but I'm just saying.
That was the Hail Mary.
They major in running.
Yeah. I don't even care about that. That I always told you he was never going to have massive statistics this year. I didn't think they're like certainly to be considered for an MVP. Like I just said, the statistics aren't there, but he was dominating these games, and without crazy numbers. He's dominating the games with his legs and with his arm. That combo and his poise. He was dominating.
I think he can be very good, and you may be proven right. But I saw something yesterday, and I was like, oh, my God, that is a bridge too far. Ron Jaworski, who I respect. Maybe he's gotten too old and lost his fastball, and maybe he's right. He said that Jayden's the best rookie quarterback he's ever seen.
Who said that?
Ron Jaworski.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, I mean, just a few years ago, Justin Herbert, didn't he throw for like 30 touchdowns his rookie season? And I'm not saying Justin Herbert is the best that Ron Jaworski's ever seen, but we've seen other rookie quarterbacks have better years than what Jayden is having.
I think people are looking at the total skill set, and I think I am.
Hey,
kind of like what Cakes is saying about Tingle. You're just looking at it and you're saying this guy can do it all.
I trust Ron Jaworski breaking down quarterbacks more than I trust JP, me, anybody in that other room, EB, any of those other people. Because that dude played in the league for a long time, and he knows quarterback.
Justin Herbert had 31 touchdowns as a rookie.
You know more than Ron Jaworski about quarterbacks?
But he's old. and he might have forgotten.
I will agree that he's old.
People are wrong all the time, Cakes. You know what? If you want to apologize to me today and say, I jumped the gun, I got HTTR in my bio, he still might be great, send me a tweet. I got guys who've been trolling me for 2 months now, apologizing. I got a guy saying all the goodwill that Jayden's built up is gone. He's got to prove himself over again. I'm sorry,
I know one person that will never apologize.
Well, those guys are crazy.
He's sitting in a hotel room in Cornell.
Well, you know what? Courage takes, it's hard to have courage, Cakes. Not easy speaking through sometimes.
You forgot the cliche.
I forgot the cliche.
So, we kind of knew what you were going for.
I'm more of a football mind than I am a linguist.
Listen, I think Jayden's going to be just fine. I think he struggled for a couple weeks, but all great quarterbacks struggle at times. All great, every single one of them.
Because Jayden struggled last night. Then he's going to get the rest. He's going to come out and hopefully vaporize the Cowboys. And all we're going to hear is, well, that's just the Cowboys. They're terrible. That's what Jayden does. He beats up on bad teams, and he can't compete against the good teams. So
that's fine.
It's lose-lose.
No, but here's the thing, though. You were talking about small sample size. And the reality is 11 games is a small sample size.
10 games. I don't count the Carolina game. Okay. He was in for one series.
Okay.
He's played 10 games.
All right. 10 games.
10.1 games.
Okay. So it's a small sample size, but people were crowning him after an even smaller sample size.
People were getting a little bit hyperbolic. I understand. I was getting swept up in the power rankings too. I was looking like, the Commanders are ranked 6th by Yahoo Sports in the NFL power rankings. But what's going on
with Jayden in particular? People are getting carried away over even smaller sample size, and now you've seen some regression over the last month plus. And to get it back to the larger topic which we wanted to talk about is, a lot of it has happened against the better teams, and that makes sense. It's common sense, EB. You're right. It's common sense. You're not going to play as well against better defenses. But if you're a star, and we all believe that Jayden can be a star, I think you have to be able to have big performances against good teams. Like when Drab brings up Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, they're going tit for tat against each other. Now, the Bengals don't have a good defense, and the Ravens don't have a good pass defense. So maybe that's not the best example, but you've seen Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes do it, right? Where it's back and forth, and that might happen this weekend. You're going to need to see Jayden have those performances against good defenses too.
Yeah, no, he will. I have no doubt. Jayden, I don't know if it'll be this year, but Jayden will perform against elite defenses because he's elite. But I think your point is well taken when you say, how many guys on this team actually would start for the Eagles, right? Let's be honest about our talent. Maybe 2 guys, 3 if you throw in Lattimore, right? So I think Jayden is a spectacular player with as bright a future as anyone in the game. But he just needs more talent around him. We just need more time. They got off to a hot start. He played amazing to start the season, and their record was probably a little bit better than it should have been. Now they're settling in, probably closer to where they should be. Still above where we thought they'd be.
But they're on track to win 9 or 10 games. I mean, nobody thought that was going to happen. Except I did. I picked them to win 10 games. This guy right here.
But the same guy who has him ahead of Mahomes.
Again, I'm not arguing that. I'm just going to ignore that you said that. I'm going to bypass that. Because again, nobody understands a little word. It's called nuance.
The only guy, and let's say Jayden and Jalen, just for the sake of argument, is a wash. Okay, so then let's say Jalen, no, they're not looking to replace him. So the only guy offensively that would start for the Eagles would be possibly Terry,
maybe Cosme.
Cosme. He's the only offensive lineman of any note.
Yeah. I think their guard, though, is a Pro Bowler who plays the same position.
Yeah, he's the only offensive lineman of any note. Defensively, I would assume Lattimore and maybe Luvu. You're talking about 3 players, and 4 players.
Yeah. And I think McLaurin is, as Cake said, a wash with Devontae Smith. They'll probably put A.J. Brown a little bit ahead of him.
Yeah, so let's just say he'd be their second or third receiver. Whatever.
There's a reason that Adam Peters scoffed at his initial press conference when he was asked about the roster and what he was inheriting.
what they've done this year with this garbage is amazing. It's actually amazing where they are. It's amazing.
And so to go back to the opponent issue, and we'll take your calls now. I think it's just a reality. Like what we've now seen, there's enough evidence is they're not in the same league as the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Eagles.
And by the way, I said that
hopeful,
when we played the Ravens.
Right. We were hopeful.
Before we played them.
We were hopeful based on what we had been seeing that they might be able to compete. And they competed. Look, the Ravens game, I mean, I guess they came back in that game. I mean, when you look at the yardage, actually, of the Ravens game, it wasn't that close. Steelers game could have gone either way. This game wasn't close. I know it was 12-10 in the fourth quarter, and they kick a field goal to take the lead, but they're outgained by basically 200 yards. The Eagles.
Yeah, but I think it got a lot of that at the end. I do think it was close.
But the Eagles,
I would argue that
their last 5 drives were all long and ended in field goals and touchdowns. And the score shouldn't have been that close if their donk kicker, who, if they had lost that game, that donk kicker wouldn't have been able to go home.
He would have had security.
But I'll say this: they wore us down.
Yes.
That's obvious. They wore us down.